In this video, I will summarize the dark phase and light phase of photosynthesis, explain how roots extract water from the soil, explain how nutrients are obtained by plants, and briefly mention how plants breathe. First, here is the composite reaction for photosynthesis. This is just an overall reaction that represents the series of reactions that occur during the dark phase and light phase of photosynthesis. The reactants of this composite reaction are carbon dioxide, water, and light energy, which strictly speaking is not a reactant, but it helps photosynthesis occur. The products of this composite reaction are glucose, oxygen, water, and ATP, adenosine triphosphate. You might notice that water is both a reactant and a product. The reason why water is both a reactant and a product is because there is some leftover water from the reaction that is not needed, so it is transpired. The ATP is used as a source of energy, and the glucose is used as a material for plant growth. The oxygen is mostly exhaled through the stomata, but some of it is used with glucose to do cellular respiration in mitochondria. Plants do both photosynthesis and cellular respiration. Now that you've seen the composite reaction for photosynthesis, let's talk about the dark phase and light phase, which constitute photosynthesis. The dark phase occurs during the night. During the dark phase, glucose and ADP, adenosine diphosphate, is created. The ADP will be used during the light phase, as you will see later. Here is a summary of what happens during the dark phase. First, there is a ribulose 5-phosphate. With help from enzymes, a phosphate is taken from ATP, adenosine triphosphate, and added to the ribulose 5-phosphate, resulting in ADP, adenosine diphosphate, because a phosphate was taken away from the adenosine triphosphate, and ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate, the molecule formed from the combination of ribulose 5-phosphate with a phosphate, is formed as well. Don't ask me why it's called that. Then, ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate captures water and carbon dioxide, creating an unstable configuration that splits into two molecules of 3-phosphoglyceric acid. Then 3-phosphoglyceric acid undergoes changes with the help of NADPH to form fructose. Some of the fructose is converted into glucose, and the rest is combined with various molecules to form the ribulose 5-phosphate we started with, so that the dark phase can repeat itself. Now for the light phase. The light phase creates NADPH, which is used in the dark phase, oxygen, and ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Here is a summary of what happens during the light phase. Photons from the sun excite electrons in chlorophyll, which causes ADP, which is created during the dark phase, to combine with a phosphate, creating ATP. The excitement of electrons in chlorophyll also causes water to be split into hydrogen and oxygen. The hydrogen combines with NADP to create NADPH, and most of the oxygen is exhaled by the plant through the stomata. The rest of the oxygen is used in cellular respiration. Leftover water from the dark phase and light phase is transpired through the stomata. As you can see, the light phase and dark phase are interdependent on each other and produce glucose, oxygen, water, and ATP. Glucose is produced during the dark phase, oxygen is produced during the light phase, excess water from both phases is transpired via stomata, and ATP is produced during the light phase. Are you brain dead yet? Well, if you're ready to learn how the reactants for photosynthesis are obtained, I'm going to begin explaining that now. Firstly, how is carbon dioxide obtained by a plant? Well, each leaf is covered with guard cells that work in pairs to open and close holes in the leaf called stomata, which I've already mentioned earlier, but now I'm explaining it. Carbon dioxide is inhaled by the plant through the stomata. Secondly, how is water obtained by a plant? Well, the first bit involves osmosis, the diffusion of water across a semi-permeable membrane. Epidermal cells in root hairs accumulate lots of salt in their protoplasms. A protoplasm is the part of a plant cell that is enclosed by the cell wall. Because there is so much salt in the epidermal cells of the root hairs, water in the soil seeks to dilute it. As a result, water diffuses into the epidermal cells of the root hairs. From here it is sent to the xylem, which is basically a complex network of tubes, and is pumped up the xylem to the plant cells. Excess water is transpired through the stomata of the plant's leaves. Now what about nutrients such as nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and calcium? How do plants get this stuff? To answer this question, we must first analyze the properties of a clay particle. Clay particles are found in the ground. They are anions, particles with negative charge. As a result, positively charged nutrients, cations, dissolved in rainwater will stick to these negatively charged clay particles. To snatch these nutrients from clay particles, a plant must perform cation exchange. Plant roots secrete positively charged carbonic acid, which dissociates into positively charged hydrogen and bicarbonate ions. The hydrogen and/or bicarbonate ions then kick off the nutrients on a clay particle, taking their place on the clay particle. Then the kicked off nutrients are sucked up by the roots. Well, that just about covers it. Photosynthesis, osmosis, plant breathing, and cation exchange, plant eating, all explained in one video. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll try to make another one soon. To see detailed animations of the dark phase and light phase, click the links in the description below. Or click the annotation on the top left-hand corner.